Hi there. I hope it doesn't bother you if I do two things at once. And if I start out looking erect, maybe I'll look better when I'm finished combing out my hair. But we've got some rainbows going on, and I really love getting as many of those as possible. Okay, it's just a body, folks. All right, it's nothing special, and then it is. Some of the comments that are coming in, especially on my last video, the long one, 43 minutes, it's just so wonderful, the comment streams that flow through. And I love it. I was so surprised the first time I went out to one of them and I was answering somebody's comment, and I looked on down the page and I saw, oh, there were some comments that I hadn't seen, I hadn't answered. And I wondered, well, gee, is my email failing? Is it not delivering me all these things? And I started answering them. A couple of times I've done this. I started answering them, and then I realized, oh my God, it wasn't addressed to me. That's why it didn't come to me. You talk about a newbie. Today I had my first experience with chat on Facebook. I didn't know how it worked or anything, and it was kind of funny, learning. I mean, once you know something, it's really simple, but until you know it, it's just not. You just don't know. That's how it is. And isn't that grand? I mean, I guess enlightenment's that way too. Once you, and I don't like the word enlightenment too much. Awakening, I think, is really good. It doesn't sound like it's someplace that you've arrived. Enlightenment kind of sounds like, ta-da, it's done. Here I am. I'm enlightened. And I don't buy that, I don't see that there's any end to the experiential aspect of life. I guess there are beings that advance and advance and advance so far, and they've experienced so many things that they reach a point where they go back into the wholeness, into the one. And so they step quite out of experience. And I wouldn't know what that's like, but I've heard Marciniak talk about it and I forget, I've got a couple of her audio books and one of her written books, and so I'm not sure where, but she talks about that the group, and it's a group of people that are giving those channelings to through Barbara Marciniak. It's not just one being, and they're not just Pleiadians. I think they started out being just a group of 50 or so Pleiadian beings, but she calls them Pleiadians plus now, because others have come and joined in to participate with us. But the Pleiadians talk about how they are from a group, uh, from a universe, I think, that fulfilled itself. It completed itself. Everyone in it, I guess, rose and rose and rose. I don't know how you say as high as they could go, but I guess within the universe, there could be a limit, since the universe itself is a limit of sorts. And it merged back into the one. And they had the choice, the option to do that, but they chose instead to stay and serve. And so I guess we're mighty glad that they did. There's a lot of good stuff that has come through Barbara Marciniak. I particularly enjoy her book. Empowerment is the main word in the title. I can't think of the full title of it, but it's a more recent one, the Bringers of the Dawn, and Keys to the, Keys to the Kingdom. Keys, something about keys. Those are from the 90s. And so, who knows what it is now. I don't pursue those things to try to keep up with them. I guess they don't light my fires quite enough. You know, folks, we all have this inside of us, each and every one of us. And so it's like the things that people say on the videos. And, I have some people message me, and we hold conversations that way, but with some people, they're just not ready for someone who's in this space, because they try to convince me of things, and of their way of seeing things. And I say thank you, and we interact, and I share with them, maybe a little compare and contrast, and share with them how I look at that. And there's a number of them that just get fed up with me. And you can see where there's identification with mind and ideas getting in the way of being able to just have that heart to heart conversation. And that's fine. I mean, it is what it is. But I was just pondering that, because, like, do the comments and what people say influence me? Yes and no. Yes and no. You are the divine communing with me. You are that. And so Source speaks to me through you. I mean, and through everything. It takes me a long time to get this. When my hair is wet, I just kind of twist it up and, put it up there. And that works for a few days. But then when it's time to take it down, it does take a little while. Uh, no, I don't want to cut it off. It's okay. I don't mind. What else do I have to do? Hello, you know? Okay, so do you influence me? A lot of my journals, there will be individuals out there that will recognize, oh, it was our conversation that got her going down this track, so definitely. And, although it's not my favorite thing, people do send me things they want me to read and videos they want me to view. And I try to make time for it. When I get too much of those, sometimes I can't do that. But if you guys just keep it to ones that are really kind of important, not just, oh, this is nice or neat. And, there's a number of us that we have that understanding that, I'll watch what I can, but if I get too much going, it's not going to happen. And so you need to get back to me, maybe, and tell me, oh, it's really important. I need you to watch it for this reason or whatever. Anyway, do you influence me? Yes and no. You do, because you guide my journey. Uh, when somebody subscribes to me, I go to their site, and I look at their stuff. I look at their profile. If you have any uploads, I'll certainly, want to watch some of those. And I'll look through your favorites. And, there have been times when I have been days on someone's site just because they have so many wonderful videos there. And so, sure, there's an influence. Hello. But I was, it's kind of fragile. I wonder if I can get it into words. When you share with me how you look at something, um, that's not going to directly influence me. Oh, I don't know. I guess I don't have the words right now. That's hard. It's a yes and a no, but I do. I look at every interaction as Source speaking with me. And I guess the bottom line is my heart. Um, it's my heart that is the final arbiter of any and everything. So whatever's said, it has to go through there. And we're all becoming these sovereign beings who, we have an internal compass, and we don't look to the world anymore. It doesn't matter if everyone on the planet believes a certain way, that doesn't make it so. And we've got the excellent example of Gandhi for that. All the people believing it doesn't make it true, and only one person believing it doesn't make it false. It just is what it is. You know, that's one of my favorite sayings. It just is what it is. And so the more we can step back, and it gets kind of impersonal, doesn't it? Aren't you finding that? As we step back from the mind, it gets much more impersonal and it gets much harder to offend you or to upset you in any way because you're looking at everything. Well, I don't know why, because. I mean, because I'm looking at everything as source interacting with me. And so I know no matter what's going on here, that there's benefit. What kind of benefit? I don't know. I mean, how do I know? The person that gets upset with me because they can't convince me of this or that and then storms off, there's a benefit there to who it is and how it is and so on. I don't know what that is. It's really not possible to know, certainly not from the 3D perspective. And if source gives you to know, that's wonderful, but it's one of those things. It's just not necessary. All this thinking that we need to know stuff, I think that's just the hypnosis of the mind and the mind being in that control position. And then because it's in the controlled position, because it's not in that position, it's not connected to the compass that we have that's in heart, that is heart. And that's how we can be tricked and manipulated and played with. There are, and I'll tell you frankly, when anything gets off and gets too intellectual, I will reject it just for that reason. For instance, Oceana Dean. Her stuff has tremendous integrity. It's phenomenal. It's otherworldly information, certainly, or other dimensional at the very least. But it's too highfalutin. It's too know-it-all. I don't feel heart in it. And it's frankly too intellectual. And remember, they can run circles around us in the arena of the mind. It's just how it is. And for a time now, it's just how it is. I mean, that's not the totality of how it is because I am that. Okay? I mean, the reality is at some level of my being, I know who those beings are that are communing with her. So do you. So do we all. At some level of our being, we are the one. And so I really think it helps to recognize that. It takes a whole nother layer or level of distress out because you know that on some level, you know whatever it is that you're wishing that you had access to. And if you don't have access to it, well, the other thing that you know, or that I know, is that source is benevolent and everything, the foundation of everything is love. And so love is the reason, the focus, the fundament. Love is what it's all about. And there's such a beauty in that that's totally transcendent of any kind of throwing a fit or getting upset or being depressed or any of this kind of thing. It kind of melts in the presence of love, doesn't it? And that love is always there. It's like the sun. It's always shining. I go to this spaceweather.com where I like to keep tabs on the solar wind and when we're in the stream of it and when we're not and that kind of thing. And at first it was a little off-putting to remember, hey, I don't care if it's midnight. I can go check on the sun. The sun is still shining. Hello. Just because I don't see it here from this particular perspective is meaningless to the sun. And so it's a game of perspective, isn't it? And what we're doing, I think, to a great extent, is we're stepping back from the person, which is like the pencil point. It's the very farthest out you can go in your perspective. It's the farthest down into the creation, perhaps, and you get identified with that. And that's when you can be somebody's marionette, and get danced around and manipulated, and we get our energies siphoned off, however they manage to do it. Sometimes I'm really glad that I don't have clairvoyance, or the fully opened third eye. And I'm sure people that have their third eye open are not looking at all life with it wide open all the time, because you get to see the astral demons and the entities and the little no-see-ums and the yuck, that we carry around, most generally, from what I've been told, in the bottom of the force field of the aura. It's like a kettle drum, where the top of the drum cuts right through your solar plexus, and then it goes down below the feet a couple or 3 feet. That it's just in this area of the aura where things that are like the negative karma and the little things, the blockages, the stuff we haven't worked through, uh, and so on, and the thought forms, the dark ways that we're thinking. And these like attracts like, so these magnetize anything like themselves. And so it's like there's everything spirals in the creation. And so it's either spiraling up or it's spiraling down. And if you get into a negative vibration, such as depression or anger, it's like going down the drain, how it spirals that way. And it grows because, like attracting like, you magnetize everything in the area, relatively speaking, that is at that frequency, at that vibration. And so you find other entities joining in your anger, because that's cool to them. That's the kind of energy that is. And we have a lot of things that we don't see at this point with the five senses, and that's probably pretty good. But I mention these things because I know how freaked out I was when I first started becoming aware of them. And it's good to be able to kind of make friends with that and give yourself some time, because at first it's kind of off-putting. There's perfect logic to it, and I learned uh, from a lot of places. I did study the teachings of the ascended masters for a couple of decades or more, actually, um, close to 30 years. And I wasn't just really totally a devotee. For periods of time, I've always been devotional. I have a love affair with God, and that's been throughout my life, and it's taken on different characteristics as I've wandered through life and tried this and that, and changes come and so on. But that love, and it's intense, that remains, and it's very devotional. So that's the kind of I don't know, the kind of energy, I guess, that I find native and comfortable to me. And so right now, it leaves me kind of detached and lost in a way, because I I'm going through the thing again, where my whole definition or concept of God is up for grabs. I just really feel there's something, but I can't identify it. I can't do anything with it. Um, Even my morning prayer, which I've been addressing to Prime Creator for some time, because to me that's just saying, okay, this is the highest that I can really conceive of, or the isness. Maybe I'll start trying to do it, the isness, that which is. Uh, I think the whole thing altogether is God. I really do. And so we are that. But everything's conscious. If a leaf is conscious, if an atom or a cell in its own way, these are conscious beings. The cells in your body are conscious. And if that's the case, then it would be kind of ridiculous to assume that there wasn't consciousness of God. I mean, look at your body. Your body is a clustering of, of atoms into cells, of cells into the flesh, the components, the parts, the organs, of the body, and then each organ itself will have its own consciousness. You can address your liver, you can address your spleen, your pancreas, your gut, whatever. So all the way up and all the way down the fractal, there is conscious awareness. And so in a way, it's like your body is a community of conscious beings that have gotten together and decided to cooperate and join together and be you, give you a platform for whatever it is, for life, for growth, for development, for I don't know what, I don't know how to put words to these things. But in a way, we could say, okay, let's look at the organs as galaxies. And, the clusterings and so on, the whole body as a universe. And so, that being the case, you are the God to this particular universe that is your form. As above, so below, as below, so above. And so it's just this constantly morphing concept of God. What is that? I don't know, but I'm sure having fun with it. It's just that the personal gets lost somehow. We do tend to get into these personal relationships, and then we learn things that send a shock into that. And for a good while, I wouldn't use the word I, very awkward. And I wouldn't use God either. I mean, I stopped all praying altogether because sometimes you're so in transition. If you don't know what you're addressing, it's best not to speak. I mean, it just seems so to me. Thank God for heart. Heart is the home in the storm, the bastion of safety in the midst of all and everything we're going through. Boy, did I ramble in this one. I hope there's some blessing, some value in it. We didn't get any more rainbows, doggone it. Love you guys. Bye-bye.